What happens if you fall in space for eternity? Space, the final frontier, a place where our understanding of time, physics, and survival is pushed to its limits. But what if, just for a moment, we could ignore all the laws of the universe? What if you could fall in space forever? No stop, no end. Just endless freefall. Let's dive in and see what happens. To start, let's imagine you're standing on a platform in space. You're not tethered, you're in the vacuum, with no air resistance. You take one step forward, and you fall. No gravity pulling you back. You're drifting into the unknown. In the beginning, you might think of falling as just moving in a straight line, but in space, there's no concept of down. You're just drifting in a direction, and gravity is affecting you differently than it does on Earth. In space, gravity is everywhere. Even if you're far from Earth, the sun and other celestial bodies will still exert gravitational forces on you. You may think of gravity as a constant force pulling you down, but in reality, it's an ever-changing experience depending on where you are in space. As you move further away from Earth, gravity weakens. Eventually, it would be the gravity of distant stars or galaxies influencing your path. But you'll never truly escape the gravitational influence of everything around you. Your trajectory would slowly bend toward other objects, especially massive ones like black holes or other stars. As you continue to fall, you'll accelerate. But here's where it gets interesting. In space, there's no air resistance to slow you down. On Earth, falling is a process that reaches a terminal velocity, where air resistance balances out your weight. But in space, without any atmosphere, there's no stopping you. You'd keep accelerating until you reach incredibly high speeds. Depending on the distance and gravitational forces at play, you could approach speeds that are fractions of the speed of light. Imagine going faster than anything we've ever seen before. As you reach these astronomical speeds, something strange happens. Space itself begins to warp. You'd start seeing time and space bend around you, a phenomenon predicted by Einstein's theory of relativity. Time would slow down relative to observers back on Earth. To you, it may feel like no time is passing at all, but in reality, days, years, or even centuries could go by. This means that if you were somehow still conscious, your perception of reality would become increasingly strange. The further you fall, the stranger the effects on your senses. But remember, you're in the vacuum of space and there's no air for sound. The vast emptiness becomes overwhelmingly silent. Now let's talk about you, the person falling. In space, you're in a vacuum. No air, no pressure. So, if you're in a spacesuit, you'd be okay at first, assuming it provides oxygen and protection from the harsh conditions. Without protection, the lack of air pressure would cause your bodily fluids to start boiling, even at body temperature. The lack of oxygen would lead to unconsciousness within seconds. Within minutes, your body would start to freeze and dry out. But that's just the beginning. If you kept falling for eternity, your body would experience extreme cold, especially if you fell into deep space far from any heat sources. You'd become a frozen, lifeless object drifting through the void. Let's push this further. If you kept falling for billions of years, you'd eventually reach the end of the universe, or would you? According to some theories, the universe is expanding, so you'd keep falling forever, but you'd never reach an end. You might fall into a black hole, where the forces of gravity become so intense they stretch you apart, a process known as spaghettification. Inside a black hole, all laws of physics break down. Time, as we know it, becomes meaningless. You'd fall towards singularity, a point of infinite density where gravity is so intense, even light can't escape. But even here, your body might be destroyed beyond recognition, never to be seen again. And so, your journey continues. Time has no meaning in this eternal fall. You are no longer the person you once were, but rather a speck in the infinite void. The universe itself may continue to expand, stars may die, galaxies may collide, but your fall, trapped in the fabric of space-time, would stretch on indefinitely. What happens if you fall in space forever? Well, it depends on how you look at it. You might drift through the cosmos, forever out of reach from anything familiar. Or you might be pulled into the grasp of a black hole, or perhaps become a timeless witness to the end of the universe itself. But in the end, space is vast, and it will continue to unfold its mysteries, whether you're falling through it or not. So next time you look up at the night sky, just remember, there's a lot more out there than meets the eye. What would happen if you started falling in space forever? The answer is infinite. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe for more amazing space explorations.